The Great Fire that swept through Rome in AD 64 left behind a city in ruins. For 6 terrifying days, flames raced through crowded streets, destroying homes, shops, temples, and public buildings. Thousands of people were left homeless, and entire neighborhoods were reduced to piles of ash and broken stone. As the smoke finally cleared, the people of Rome expected their emperor to focus on rebuilding the city they had lost. Instead, they witnessed the beginning of one of the most extravagant building projects in history. Emperor Nero ordered the construction of an enormous palace, unlike anything the Roman world had ever seen. It was not simply a royal residence. It was a sprawling estate that stretched across hundreds of acres in the very heart of Rome. Land that had once been filled with the homes of ordinary citizens was transformed into a private paradise reserved for the emperor and his guests. Every detail was designed to impress. Construction crews worked tirelessly to reshape the landscape. Hills were carved away, valleys were filled, and vast gardens were planted with carefully selected trees, flowers, and shrubs. Workers created an enormous artificial lake that reflected the surrounding buildings like a mirror. Shaded walkways wound through the grounds, connecting grand halls, quiet courtyards, and peaceful gardens that seemed to go on forever. Inside the palace, luxury reached a level that very few people could have imagined. The walls were covered with colorful paintings depicting myths, landscapes, and scenes from everyday life. Marble was brought from distant parts of the empire, each variety chosen for its unique color and pattern. Ceilings were decorated with gold, precious stones, and delicate carvings. Some banquet rooms were designed with mechanical devices that slowly rotated overhead while flower petals drifted down upon the emperor's guests. Others featured hidden pipes that released sweet perfumes into the air during lavish feasts. Nothing about the palace was ordinary. Visitors entered through massive halls supported by towering columns. Long corridors connected room after room, each more impressive than the last. Large windows filled the interior with natural light, while reflecting pools and fountains created an atmosphere of calm and elegance. Every space was carefully planned to remind visitors of the emperor's immense wealth and power. Standing near the entrance was one of the most astonishing sights in all of Rome. Workers erected a gigantic bronze statue of Nero himself. Rising nearly 100 feet into the sky, it became one of the tallest statues ever created in the ancient world. Visible from great distances, it served as a constant reminder of the man who ruled the empire. To some, the palace represented the height of Roman engineering and artistic achievement. It showcased the incredible talents of architects, artists, engineers, and craftsmen who pushed the limits of what was possible. The palace introduced new construction techniques and inspired future generations of builders. To many ordinary Romans, however, the palace became something entirely different. Families who had lost everything in the fire watched as enormous sums of money were poured into the emperor's private retreat. Land that might have been used to rebuild neighborhoods instead became gardens, lakes, and banquet halls reserved for a single man. Critics saw the project as a symbol of excess at a time when many citizens were struggling to recover from disaster. Nero ruled for only a few more years before his reign came to a dramatic end. After his death, later emperors moved quickly to erase many of the reminders of his rule. Large sections of the palace were buried beneath new construction, and the artificial lake was eventually drained to make room for one of the greatest amphitheaters ever built. What had once been the emperor's private paradise gradually disappeared beneath the growing city. Although much of the palace was lost to history, its story has endured for nearly 2,000 years. It remains one of the most remarkable examples of imperial ambition ever undertaken, a breathtaking display of wealth, power, engineering, and artistic brilliance. At the same time, it stands as a lasting reminder that the grandest monuments can become symbols of pride, extravagance, and the growing distance between a ruler and the people he governs.